Algorand and Hedera are teaming up in a DREC alliance. That is exactly what we are going to be covering in this video. This is actually pretty huge because this is a new paradigm that is entering the Web3 space in regards to your private keys and how you secure them. Now, there is going to be a bit of a pushback on this whole thing, just like we saw with Ledger. However, this kind of recovery is done in a totally secure and decentralized fashion. And if you look at the demographic that we are still yet to engulf in regards to bringing them onto the crypto space, actually something like this is very needed. So what I want to do with you guys in this video is actually look at both John Wood, somebody we've had the pleasure of interviewing 3 times now, and Lehman Braid, who I'm very hopeful that we're going to be interviewing in the near term, actually introducing this. And then we're going to be going over to a video that was done a while back by Lehman, actually talking about this in more detail, talking about the issue that there currently is right now surrounding the Web3 space and seed phrases, and then also his solution, which has been announced and Algorand is now fully on board with. Now, you guys will know that Algorand and Hedera are 2 of my favorite projects within the crypto space, and I love to see this alliance. So without further ado, guys, let's go over to the Algorand Foundation's page and look at them announcing this, and then we'll look at a short clip from John Wood and then a short clip from Lehman before we dive into Lehman explaining this in more detail. Let's dive into it. So the news reads, today at the CFCST Moritz, Algorand Foundation CTO John Wood announced Algorand's partnership in the DREC Alliance, a chain-agnostic effort to enable mass market decentralized recovery. The alliance is formed with the HBAR Foundation, Swirlds Lab, and others. This is pretty huge. Let's now dive over to a video of John Wood actually talking about this in a little bit more detail. Then we're going to hear from Lehman, and then we're going to be moving on to the issue right now explained by Lehman and the solution they are proposing.
Sure, maybe I'll start. So I think for our industry at large, the Web3 space, decentralized asset space, user experience has to be put at the forefront if it's going to be successful. And one of the most frictionful points right now around the user experience for the average person who's venturing into digital assets is the key. The private key is required to spend those assets. It's essentially your right of ownership over those assets. And one of the benefits of Web3 is that having this single key that you own gives a great responsibility of self-sovereignty. It's not with the bank, it's with you. And that's a wonderful virtue of the technologies that we have created and we are working on. However, with that comes a huge responsibility. And folks out there have lost these keys, and with that they lose their assets. And so with Swirlds Labs, Lehman and his team have come up with a wonderful protocol for how we can ensure that these keys are kept secure in a decentralized manner, and if someone was to lose those keys, they can be recovered without having to trust any one party.
So that, of course, was the Algorand CTO, John Wood, introducing this. Let's now look at Lehman Braid actually talking about this.
That's great.
Yes. So the whole future is things like blockchains and other things that are online, but you have keys, you have passwords. Maybe we'll go to passkeys, but then you have information in your phone that does the passkey. There's always some secret somewhere that you need to protect. And our whole lives are moving online and being controlled with these things. You don't want to give it to someone else, not your keys, not your crypto.
Right.
You want to have it yourself, but then you lose it. And I get emails from someone saying, I've lost my 24-year-old mnemonic. Could you create another one for me? No. but it's bad because every part of our life has a safety net, but not this one. If you lose your password to your bank, someday you'll get into your bank account. If you lose your key for a crypto account, you're out of luck. And so what you have to do is be able to share it with some friends and family, maybe your bankers, maybe your lawyers, but share it with multiple helpers and have your phone every day asking their device, do you still have my part of it? That's really important. And keep it secret. You don't want to know, you don't want the world to know how many helpers you have or who they are. This is important. But the most important thing is it's got to be interoperable. Right. Every wallet, every password manager, this isn't just blockchain, every password manager needs to interoperate. So we've got to have a standard that everyone uses. And it has to be open source and everyone. And that's why I think it is so great that we have this partnership and we're bringing in others also, other blockchains, banks and credit unions and other people. It's just so important to do that.
So this is pretty huge, and I think some people may approach this with a degree of skepticism. However, I just want to maybe walk through some scenarios before we extend on what Lehman and Algorand and HBAR Foundation are essentially proposing and looking to implement. Because could you imagine when we move to this world, which is coming, it's inevitable at this point, where everything is on the blockchain and you have RWAs, real world assets on the blockchain? Could you imagine if you lost your wallet seed phrase that had your house NFT on it or your car NFT on it or whatever it may be? You would essentially be potentially in a lot of trouble and it would be unrecoverable. There in some cases does need to be an intermediary, and actually the beautiful thing about what Lehman is proposing with the Algorand Foundation and everybody else that's partaking in it is that essentially there's a way that you can take your seed phrase, turn it into a secret, and send bits of that secret to perhaps 4 or 5 different participants that could be your friends and family, that will allow you to recover your seed phrase if you actually end up losing your seed phrase. So this, I think, is going to be definitely met with a degree of skepticism, but I think it's fit for purpose for some of the roles that it may be employed in. And actually, to extend on this a little bit further and to talk about Hedera specifically, they are all about upgrading user experience and making it as seamless. You know, Lehman himself has said that the way that we get Web3 adoption is to be a Trojan horse in the Web2 space and have people using the Web3 space without even realizing that they're using it. And that's where this industry needs to get for mass adoption, and actually to put security or backup security in place that's done in a decentralized manner, I think is a key part of moving towards mainstream adoption. So it's great to see Algorand and HBAR, Hedera, working together on this. What I want to do now is actually look at Lehman extending and giving his summary of how this is facilitated. So let's dive over to that clip.
What you really want is DREC, decentralized recovery. And here is the idea. You have your secret, maybe it's an account with just one key on it, or maybe it's a DID, it's actually information, or it's private keys for something else, or it's passwords for websites. Maybe you're using something like 1Password with a whole bunch of passwords. Your secret is a list of passwords. Whatever your secret is, any secret, what you do is you get helpers like we had before, but it's not that they each have a key on your account. That would be bad. Instead, you take that secret and you break it into pieces and give each of your helpers a piece. Shamir secret sharing, very easy, very straightforward, very secure. You can say that it takes half of your helpers to recover it. So if even one less than half of your helpers isn't helping, or if you have just less than half your helpers helping, then you will not be able to recover the key. It takes a full half of your helpers to do it. And again, I say a half, I would encourage us to build that into the software. Don't even give the user the choice of what the fraction is, because again, we don't want grandma to accidentally get into trouble here. So we'll just say you can get as many helpers as you can. Maybe until you have 3 or 4 helpers, the software will yell at you. 3 is probably good. The software will yell at you and say, hey, you need more helpers. And then when you have enough helpers, your key, your secret is shared among all of them in pieces. None of them can see your secret. And then any half of them can recover it. That's decentralized recovery. Okay, so what happens if you lose your key? You just have to, or you lose your phone, say. You go get a new phone, you install the app, and then you go to each of those helpers and you say, hey, I want you to be my helper. And just like you had connected with them in the first place, you connect with them again. But when you reinstalled the app, you told it, hey, I'm in recovery mode. I've done this, I've been here before. Please help me recover. And so when your phone connects to each of your helpers, it knows that it's recovering. And as soon as you talk to half of the helpers, if you had 10 helpers, as soon as you talk to the 5th one, your phone magically has all of its secrets back. It even has a list of helpers back. Remember, we were keeping that private. The helpers don't know who each other are. So it's not really stored anywhere, except it is itself one of your secrets. So as soon as you can remember 5 of your 10 helpers, you will instantly have the list of all 10, and you'll have all your secrets. Everything is recovered. You are fine. This is DREC.
So again, I do think this is going to be met with a degree of skepticism, which I think is totally normal. But the fact that this is done in a decentralized manner, DREC stands for decentralized recovery, I think is the key part to understand here. You know, it's not Ledger holding your backup. It's you basically appointing friends, family, whoever it may be, your banker, whatever it may be, to basically hold a piece of the key that will ultimately unlock the key that you hold, essentially. And that not any one of these can actually have access to the secret or know the secret, but they can all together, or around about 50+% of them, contribute to enable you to recover your funds if you did lose them, which is likely going to be a real issue moving forward, certainly as Web3 becomes more and more adopted. So I'm all for this. I love to see, and one thing that I'm really excited about in the crypto space is the broader application of decentralized systems. And this is a perfect example of that. So that's really all we've got for you in this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts, comments, and concerns in the comments section. And on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Have a fantastic Thursday, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.